Hi everyone, so in this video I'm doing a Copic hair tutorial, so how to color hair with Copic markers. Part 1 was how to color a face and skin, so if you want to see that, the link will be in the description of this video so you can watch part 1 before you watch part 2 if you want, or if you just want to know how to color hair then you can keep watching this video. So the main colors that I'm going to use on this tutorial, I'm going to use some of my favorite browns. They're E70, E71, and E77, and then I'm going to also add in a little bit of purple to the hair just to kind of help shade the brown and add some more interesting colors. It just gives it more depth if you shade with more than one color, so it's BV11. I might use my other BV colors, but I'll tell you if I do. So what I like to do first is kind of map out where I want the shading to be. So if the light's coming from above over here, then it would be, you kind of have to think about what that light would hit and would that cast a shadow. So definitely here would be darker, so I'm just going to start off by putting some color there. Under her face here, her chin would cast a shadow on her hair, and also here. So for this part of the hair underneath here, you basically just want to plan out like where your darkest colors would be, and even within those dark colors there's going to be slightly lighter colors too, so it isn't all one flat color. So it might be your darkest color and your second darkest color kind of mixed together. There'll be some here if the light's coming from over here, and also up here, since her hair has quite a lot of volume to it, along the thickest part of the hair is usually where the shine is, just with this style of coloring at least. Where your hair is thicker, it tends to catch the light. So it'd be kind of like a ring of light above here. So underneath that would be some shading. And you kind of just want to like feather your marker and shade it in chunks rather than individual lines throughout each piece. So you're going for like each individual chunk of hair is what you want to shade. And also a little bit back here because it's going to be shiny along this part of the hair, so over here would be darker. And since this is the widest part of this strand, I'm going to start down here, add some shading, add some to the side there. I'm going to leave the middle, the lightest part. But of course you're going to go in with your darker colors and darken everything. The lightest colors just to kind of map out where you want to color, where you want all your shadows to be. So this will kind of cast a shadow along the rest of the hair since it's on top of everything, so there'll be a little bit of a cast shadow there. And up here is going to be pretty light because that's where the light's coming from. And just like in between each strand you want to shade, and I like to make the strokes a bit thicker where it begins and thinner in the middle of the strand. That's just the way I like to do it. Okay, now that you have your like basic outline of where you want your shadows to be, you have a couple different options of what you can do. You can either go in with your really dark color immediately and then go in with your second darkest color to kind of blend that out and then blend it all out with this color, or you can go in with your medium color, then your dark color, and then blend everything. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to go into the darkest color to start and put the shading where I think it would be the absolute darkest. So definitely under here would be pretty dark. But don't color the entire thing with this color. Leave areas that you'd want to be a bit lighter so that there's still some hair texture in there. So for instance, I left some lighter lines, but I'm going to go in with those light lines with my medium color and kind of darken them and blend them out. It gives it a lot more dimension and interest if you don't color a section of the hair like completely flat, because if you look in your own hair or in like real life hair, you can always see each individual strand of hair. So even if it's dark in complete darkness, you can still see the strands, unless it's like complete darkness and you can't see anything. So I'm just going to start up here, and very lightly I'm kind of creating little triangular strokes to kind of lead up to the middle of the piece of hair. And since her chin will kind of cast a shadow, I want the top part of this to be darker than the bottom. And now I'm going to go immediately back in with my medium color so that it's easier to blend the markers when they're still drying, so when they're still wet. So that's why I'm going in with this color immediately. And I find leaving, like, instead of coloring straight to the edge of something with a dark color, you leave a tiny little section of it light near the edge. So that's kind of like your reflected light. I don't know if hair would necessarily have that, but it just kind of helps it separate from this part here, from the dark part, so it's not two dark lines right next to each other. There's a distinction between them. So I'm just going to blend that out with this dark color and just leave white or very, very light what you want your highlight to be. And then you can actually go over that with your highlight, or you can even leave a white section of it too. Whatever colors you're using, your light color might be light enough, but maybe your light color isn't quite light enough and you want to leave it actually white, and then use your colorless blender to kind of blend the white into the rest of the hair. And these colors blend together very well, so the mid-tone tends to kind of like almost bleach the darkest color, so sometimes you might find yourself having to darken everything. So I'm gonna go in with the purple and go into your like very darkest shadows and just add a touch of purple. If you're coloring it brown, if you're coloring it a different color, try to find another color you can use to kind of add some more dimension to your hair color. So if you're coloring something blonde, maybe you want to add a little bit of red in it, or if you're coloring something gray, you might want to add a bit of blue into it. It just gives everything more dimension if you shade with more than one color. So that's kind of like one section of hair colored. I'm gonna try to like finish the rest of the sections. So over here I'm kind of feathering it, and then I'm gonna use my lightest color to fill in the highlight. And I'm gonna go in with my purple and add some purple to the dark tones of it. I don't know why, I just like shading brown hair with purple. I did a little bit too much purple there. That was supposed to be kind of lighter, but that's okay. The ear would probably cast a shadow too. Under here would have some shading. I'm trying to go kind of fast for the sake of the tutorial, so yours might take longer than this because I'm kind of not rushing, but I'm just going quickly. So I kind of color over top of the dark color, just like the edge of it, then I kind of feather it up by flicking the marker. Now this is looking a little bit too light here, so I'm just gonna color over that with my kind of mid-tone color. I'm gonna go over the lightest colors with the white colors that still don't have any color on them with my lightest E70. Now I just need to darken everything again because these markers blend with each other really well, the E70s, so the darkest color tends to lighten a lot. And it's always a good thing to have a good range of dark colors to light colors. That's what makes drawings really pop and give them a lot of contrast. If you pick a really dark color as your shadow and a really light color as your highlight, and then some colors in between you can blend with, and then pick another color you can kind of incorporate into it to add some more interest to it. That's kind of like my rule of thumb when I'm coloring things. Using the purple again. Might even want to use a darker purple, like this BV04 for the really dark colors. Just be careful because it's really dark. And now for this part of the hair, I'm going to go in with your darkest color, but don't color completely to the edge of the hair, like leave a little highlight there, like there. And then make like a little triangular kind of thin point to the line. And now I'm going to blend these out with my mid-tone. So I'm kind of trying to leave this part, the thicker part of the hair, with more of a highlight on it. So now I'm gonna make the brown darker by using this purple BV04. So the final step of this is to add in some highlights. With a white gel pen, you can use white gouache, white paint, anything white that's very opaque that you can use to add some highlights. Kind of follow the shape of the hair. So add little lines that kind of go alongside existing lines in the hair. Depending on your color, this might make a difference, this might not. I'm gonna go up here and kind of bring down the lightness into the dark color. That can add some nice contrast. And you might want to like add a little bit of gaps in your line, so you start, kind of stop, start like that. It just adds some nice texture. So this is basically how I color hair with Copic. It's like my basic go-to method for coloring. I think a big part of it is just kind of following your existing lines and making sure that it's light where it should be and dark where it should be, and that there's enough contrast between the colors that you use and enough variety between the colors so that it looks interesting. And also that you put in some highlights at the end, because that can really add some nice contrast. So part 1 for this was coloring the skin, and you just watched part 2, so that's the end of this tutorial. So I hope you found these videos useful, and thanks for watching.